Satchel from Steel Panther. You're listening to Metal Stream Radio with Metal Matt, and he is totally naked from the waist down.
Hey guys, Metal Matt back again, here with the second hour of the Metal Matt Show for Metal Stream Radio, the coolest radio station around, because we're playing heavy metal. And how many stations do that? Not that many, I don't think, and we're here to celebrate all things metal, play some great bands for you that you may or may not know, lots of mixture of stuff, some you will know, some I can introduce you to, and and we have interviews and all sorts of stuff here on the radio show and on the station in general. Throughout the week there's so much great metal stuff being played, and other DJs playing some great stuff too, but if you want to tune in for my show, it's every Friday and Saturday 6 p.m. UK time. So yeah, see you here every week for your daily or weekly dose of heavy metal. And yeah, it's an honor to be here, and we're going to get started now with a bit of Steel Panther, because they're a great band. They're kind of keeping that heavy metal alive with a bit of humor, but also with amazing musicianship. The voice of Michael Starr, he is one of the best vocalists around in this time. He's there aren't many heavy metal vocalists of his kind that are kind of around now. Only the really old school ones, who are getting old now, getting on, but Michael's still got that amazing voice, and they're not a new band, obviously they've been around a long time, but they're newer, should we say, Michael's still killing it, and he's bringing in this amazing voice and this amazing style, and the whole band, Satchel on guitar, he writes the songs, I think, and he's got a great humor, he doesn't take it too seriously, really funny lyrics, as you'll hear on this next track, but his shredding is another story that is next level. One of the best guitar players around, so you've got one of the best singers of our times along with one of the best guitarists of our times, so that's going to make a pretty killer band, I think. So as you'll hear, and I'm sure you know them already, I think they played the Strip for years, and they played all these places. They started out as a kind of residency band, I believe, and they were playing this places all the time, and different people would sing with them, like Miley Cyrus and Billy Ray Cyrus and Chester Bennington. They've had everyone come up on stage and jam with them over the years. So they're a fantastic band, but their own songs are where they truly shine, and their live shows are unmatchable. I've seen them probably 5 times, and every time it's just amazing. It's the most fun you can have at a concert, I always say. If you want to have a fun time and just rock, Steel Panther show is the place to be. So we're going to start off now with one that always makes me laugh. I love the lyrics on this one, and it truly rocks, as you'll hear, and it's a little song if you're a bit pissed off today or had a bit of a crappy week. Well, this is a song called Fuck Everybody, and it's pretty damn good. So here we go with Fuck Everybody by Steel Panther.
He was on Instagram.
we go. I think we can all relate to that song now and again. That's a great track there by Steel Panther. You know, they don't hold back, and that's what I love about them. You know, it's great. I mean, I've always said to Satchel and things when I've met the band and Satchel in particular. You know, I've always said, you know, it's great what you guys do, because it's, you know, without that humor element, it wouldn't really work this day and age, like being a glam rock, glam sort of metal, hair metal band, you know, because it's just like people would just be like, oh, you know, that's been done, you know, kind of thing. But this hasn't been done, you know, and it's they've got such a unique sound, and the humor kind of just makes it, you know, okay somehow, because it's you know, they're not taking themselves too seriously. The bands in the 80s did take themselves seriously, but they kind of look funny, a lot of them, and they, you know, they were dressing up like girls and stuff, and, you know, but it was all to be taken very seriously. But now I think, you know, people would laugh at that kind of style, but it was cool, and these guys love that music, and we all did, you know, we, especially those of you who were around in that time, you know, love these bands that were like that, you know. But obviously times change, and it's like, you know, doing that kind of thing this day and age might not be, you know, accepted. It might not get where it could have in the 80s or whatever, but it's a great way to keep it alive with the humour element. It's totally unique. They've done something totally unique, but they're also keeping that kind of glam rock metal kind of style alive, you know. And yeah, it's true heavy metal, you know. And really, when you think about it, there's so many songs. Some people might knock Steel Panther for being so kind of in your face with the innuendo, I guess, but when you think about it, there's so many bands and songs, you know. Cherry Pie, I'm sure, has some innuendo, and, you know, there's so many songs. You know, Rob Halford's done plenty with Judas Priest, like Eat Me Alive and all these songs. So really, is there a difference? There's not really, you know, but the only difference is Panther take it to the extreme, but that's what's so great about them, and they don't care. I think heavy metal's all about not giving a cluck. So you know, that's what they do. They don't care. They do what they want to do, and you know, who says Steel Panther can't get radio play, you know? Because here on Metal Stream Radio, we're all about the metal. We play everything, and you know, as long as it's heavy metal, we're playing it, and we're proud to fly the flag for heavy metal. And this is just another band we love, and I hope you enjoyed that too. And now we're gonna go, as I say, we do so many things on this station and on this show that you know, I'm gonna take you in a totally different direction now. It's Gorgoroth, and it's a little song called Sign of an Open Eye, and yeah, it's fantastic. You got Gal on vocals with his very kind of, I don't even know how to describe them. How would you describe Gal? Kind of very evil, very, you know, unique, strong vocals, and this is a cool one. This is my favourite song by Gorgoroth. He performed it a lot with Godseed as well, and yeah, he's a great musician. He's from Norway, and yeah, he's kind of the true Norwegian heavy metal guy, you know. I think everyone knows Gal, and yeah, he was great with Gorgoroth. I loved the stuff he did with them, and yeah, this is one of my favourites called Sign of an Open Eye. Sign of an Open Eye. Great riffs, great vocals, you know, I love that song. I love that kind of hypnotic trance. I like that kind of black metal where it's like a really kind of, I don't know, it just takes you on a journey, doesn't it? It drags you in and brings you on along for the ride kind of thing. I love that. So yeah, so many cool things to play on Metal Stream Radio this week on the Metal Matt show here. And yeah, trying to think if there's anything else been going on lately which I could just share with you, because it's been a pretty crazy week. We have had a cat out here actually, which unfortunately had to have an operation to get a tower removed. It was a street cat. And life in Mexico is very different to England. You get a lot of street cats, a lot of street dogs. I met a lovely street dog yesterday and I was stroking it and stuff. A lot of the people don't stroke them, you know, they're scared of them and stuff, but I've grew up with dogs, you know, and I kind of, I know how to deal with dogs and judge their kind of behaviour, you know. I extend my hand first for them to sniff and things, and very careful with them, you know. But yeah, this dog, you know, he was wary at first, and then when I put my hand out and he sniffed it and I stroked him, he then come right up to me like you know, like a pet, you know, sort of putting his head on my leg kind of thing, you know. It's really sad and you know, sweet as well, you know. It's so many beautiful street dogs out here, and it's just sad they haven't got a loving home, you know. And I see a lot of people buying, you know, pedigree type dogs, you know, people walking around with bulldogs, and chihuahuas are big over here and different things, but there's so many street dogs, you know. You know, they should be taking them off the street, you know. The dogs are, more people should kind of rescue the dogs that are around on the street. I think, you know, some of them do go a bit wild and a bit kind of pack mentality, so I guess maybe sometimes people are afraid to kind of take them in, or the dogs themselves don't always adjust. But there's a lot, I think, that would, especially the younger ones, and it's a shame there's not more people taking in the street dogs, you know. Something I want to do eventually. Even we've ended up with a Chihuahua, but it's because it wasn't my first choice, but it needed a home, and it was my wife's family, you know. They had a lot of Chihuahuas, and kind of we did the right thing by taking in the Chihuahua, you know. She's a lovely little thing, you know. I'm happy we got her, so, you know, it's not exactly rescuing one off the street, but it is, she did need a home, and, you know, we just did it. So, you know, but I'm hoping I can take in a street dog eventually. We've taken 2 street cats, two abandoned kittens that were out on the streets out here in Mexico. They're about a year old now. They're big boys now. They're both boys, and yeah, they're great. I love them. I love our cats. They're really nice cats, you know. And yeah, they were just left in the street, in the middle of the street somewhere, and yeah, 2 little babies. And I was sure one of them would die when I first got it, because it looked pretty, you know, like a runt kind of thing, runt of the litter type of thing. And he's the most mischievous cat now. He's the most kind of inquisitive and healthy, and, you know, they're both really healthy now. And, you know, I'm glad we got the opportunity to take them in and at least rescue a couple of street cats. But what I was getting to, there was a street cat that was always hanging around our house, but she'd come and go, and one day she turned up with a bad injury on her toe, and I had her on antibiotics and things, and that didn't work, so she's recently had an operation to have her toe removed, sadly, but I think it's going to give her a better life. And yeah, that's something big I've had going on lately, and yeah, it's been all a bit crazy at the moment, but things are starting to settle down now, and yeah, that's my kind of life at the moment out here. But anyway, back to the metal now, to play some more cool stuff for you. Well, I'll play an original. I'm not saying it's cool stuff, because I was going to play something different, but I'll chuck on an original so you can hear something, because this is cool. It's talking of Mexico, you know, there's a guy out here called Alex who's from a quite a well-known band in the area, and throughout Mexico. Actually, they toured Mexico about 10 years ago. A band called Steel Sentinel, and they're keeping that heavy metal alive. And Alex, the singer, reached out to me a few years ago when he saw a video of me singing Judas Priest out here in Mexico, in Puerto Morelos. I was singing some Judas Priest at a bar, and he saw a video, and he commented, "Oh, I got to see you sing and stuff." And then we ended up meeting, and we're friends now, which is great. and he's invited me to sing at his gigs a few times. I sang with him recently actually at a thing called Pesca Fest, which is like fish festival, which I don't know much about it, but it was great. It was a proper outdoor stage, you know, a big old stage, and I didn't think it would be like that, you know, and I was like, oh well. When I turned up, I was like, oh damn, I didn't know I was doing a proper performance today. So I wasn't exactly prepared, but it was great. We did Diamonds and Rust, cover of Judas Priest, Diamonds and Rust, their version of it, because it's actually a cover of Joan Baez. She did an acoustic version of it originally, like a folk song, but Priest made it metal, and yeah, we did a cover of that kind of metal version of Diamonds and Rust, so that was great. Any opportunity I get to fly the flag for Priest and for heavy metal, but Priest in particular, you know, I love singing that stuff. I don't think enough people celebrate the music of Judas Priest, so I'm always here to do that, because I think they are just the masters. They're such an incredible band, you know. So yeah, what was I getting to? Alex, the singer, I actually had him sing on one of my tracks recently. It's a song called You Know That I'm Here. It was an old song that I did, that I kind of re-recorded, because years ago when I started out, this was kind of one of my first songs on my Sonic Love album. When I used to make CDs, I just put it all out virtually these days, but I had this kind of acoustic rock kind of album. It was back when I was a bit more gothic sounding, and yeah, it was a good song. I used to play it around the open mic nights where I was living in Bristol, and you know, people always liked this song, you know, they always kind of got to know it, they'd always mention it and always enjoyed it, always had a good response kind of thing from the crowds every time I played it. And I never did a proper recording of it, so I did a live kind of recording out here, but it's kind of live but studio live, so it sounds great kind of thing, you know, the mix is great. We went into a proper studio, and I thought it'd be great to get Alex, the singer of Steel Sentinel, on the song, you know, have a bit of Mexican-British kind of fusion, because he's like the Mexican version of Metal Matt, almost, you know, he does what I do, but here in Mexico, and I guess I'm out here in Mexico doing it as well, so, you know, we're flying the flag for true heavy metal. He's a big Priest fan. In fact, the whole band loved Judas Priest and Black Sabbath and stuff, and they love all that sort of stuff. Thin Lizzy was a big influence on them. So yeah, they got some great influences, and their songs really rock. They got a cool song called Pedal to the Metal, and they've done a new song recently which rocks as well. So yeah, check them out, Steel Sentinel. And here, Alex here doing some kind of backing harmonies and joining in on a few lines and stuff of my song, You Know That I'm Here. The best version of it, really, so I'm really happy it turned out good. I was really happy to get into the studio and record it, and it's one of the few songs I'm playing guitar on it. So I'm playing guitar, nothing particularly intricate, because if I'm singing and playing, I don't tend to do anything too intricate, but this song's got kind of classic power chords. It's quite a heavy song. It would be metal if it was plugged in kind of thing, but I like to do a bit of acoustic rock, kind of stripped down stuff, because you can still put a rock edge on that kind of acoustic stuff, and that's something I like to do, you know. So yeah, it's a pretty rocking song, and you know, some little insights to it. I think when I was first writing it, I kind of went for like a ticking clock kind of sound with the guitar. I tried to recreate that a bit in a melodic way, because the song's got a lot of kind of reference to I've been waiting. I got to really think back what I was writing about. I think it was some relationship I had, and just where you don't know where you are, and you know, you're kind of waiting, you know, you're in that weird place that I think we've all experienced, where you don't really know what's going on, and you're kind of like, you know. So yeah, it was kind of a song about that, I think, but it kind of has new meaning these days, you know. It's to me, I just look back on a song that I look back on it as a song that was kind of crucial to my evolution as a musician. So it was a nice song to come back to, because I don't really do songs like this anymore. I haven't for years, so it was nice to just get in the studio, sing a song that I've sang 100 times, but properly, and have a special guest on it, because he's got a wonderful voice. He's got kind of a kind of Freddie Mercury fragrance to his voice almost. He's very, very good singer, Alex. So yeah, check out Steel Sentinel if you get a chance. They're great. And this is Alex joining me on You Know That I'm Here.
Too long, I've been waiting What's the meaning of my life? I've been screaming for that voice in the night. You just found the one, your life has begun. You make a mistake, you think life is at stake. Love you dearly, what we have is merely wild. Everybody wants. You know that I'm here, you know that I'm there. You know that I'm here, you know that I'm there. You know that I care. You know that I'm here, you know that I'm there. You know that I'm here, you know that I'm there. Your soul is perfect, your mind is worth it. You open up my heart. You know that I'm here, you know that I'm there, you know that I care. You know that I'm here, you know that I'm there, you know that I care. I've been hoping everything will be okay. And I've been learning, yeah, it's all very new to me. Give me a chance, I'm your wild romance. You put me in a trance. Your soul is perfect, your cosmic mind is worth it. Whoa, yeah. You know I'm here, you know I'm there. You know that I'm here, you know I'm there. You know 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 I'm here, you know that I care.
There we go. Yeah. Right.
Let's go for a beer.
Yeah, beer time.
I've been waiting way too long.
Yeah, the mix ain't bad. Yeah,
I've
that's it.
been waiting to know
It's quite leveled up
what's
now.
going
Yeah.
on. I've been waiting.
King Diamond stuff.
Yeah, that's it. And there we go with You Know That I'm Here. I hope you like that one, guys. That's a Metal Matt original. And yeah, fantastic vocals by Alex there. I love what he did on the song. So yeah, I was really happy to kind of have him on it, you know, really great. And yeah, Michael Starr of Steel Panther actually collaborated on that post on Instagram, which is really nice, you know, nice when the kind of rock stars, you know, support up and coming musicians, you know. I appreciate that, you know. I think he knows I appreciate it, so yeah, it's nice that he does that, you know. He's pretty down to earth, you know, like I say, the whole band are. So yeah, that was great. That got it a few more hits, you know. So yeah, that one's out there on all the platforms. You Know That I'm Here, under the name Metal Matt. And yeah, you can find it everywhere, wherever your preferable kind of streaming or downloading service is, you know, it should be on there. So yeah, anyway, what should we play now? We got so many options. I think I'm going to play a little song called For All Eternity, and it's a song by Fight. We were talking about Rob Halford's Fight band earlier. Well, this is a great song off the Demos album. It was released on the actual album, War of Words album as well, but this was the Fight Demos release, which is actually my favourite. I love the sound of all the songs on that. It's a bit more raw, and I really love the mix on that. So yeah, this is For All Eternity off the Fight Demos. I think it's K5 or something, K5 Demos, something like that. But yeah, it's fantastic. So here we go with a bit of For All Eternity. You'll hear Rob's fantastic vocals and Russ Parrish, Satchel doing some amazing solos, or one amazing solo on this track. It's really beautiful. So yeah, enjoy.
How can I begin to tell? Emotions can't be shared. You'd walk away and show me that you care. Building walls around yourself, letting no one through. You couldn't see my hands reach out for you. Myself, I did that to survive. The only way to keep myself alive. One day you will realize how this all began. You didn't see the child become the man. For all eternity, for all eternity, the past keeps haunting me. Look back in time, feel the pain.
There we go. I forgot how amazing that version was. These demos are awesome, you know. I've heard the kind of other version, the main version on the War Words album so many times. I forgot how great this one is as well, you know. That's a really, really amazing, beautiful version of the song. And I love that Fight, you know, they kind of had that same depth Judas Priest had, you know. You know, mainly they were like a full-on metal kind of thrashy band, but they still did a few songs like this, you know, which are just totally... shows Rob's beautiful vocals, you know, his ability to truly sing, you know, he can really do a lot with his voice, which is what's great, and he truly showcased that with Fight. So yeah, next up, you know, as is a bit of a Priest special this week, I'm going to play a bit of Merciful Fate, but they're actually playing a Judas Priest song. It's a song off the Sad Wings of Destiny album. It's The Ripper. So have a listen to Merciful Fate, the amazing Merciful Fate. Do The Ripper. Have a listen. It's great. It's a really cool version.
You're in for a surprise. You're in for a shock. In London town streets, when there's darkness and fog. When you least expect me, and you turn your back, I'll attack. I smile when I'm sneaking through shadows by the wall. I laugh when I'm creeping, but you won't hear me at all. Oh, hear my warning, never turn your back on the river. You'll soon shake with fear, never knowing if I'm near. I'm sly and I'm shameless, nocturnal and nameless, except for the river, or if you like, Jack the Knife.
Merciful Fate with The Ripper. The Ripper. Very cool song. I love that song, and I love what Merciful Fate did with it there. And, you know, King Diamond is another legend with a high voice, you know. If you love that high vocal style, you know, you got to love King Diamond. And, you know, it's quite interesting how he's got a different voice to Rob, very different, but he's more haunting King. I think that's what makes him really cool as well. Two very different styles. You know, King's big on kind of that theatrical, kind of haunting kind of vibe. But the vocal style isn't hugely different. You know, I think Rob Halford, I believe he uses kind of a similar technique. Rob's a bit more of a reinforced falsetto, you know, so instead of that kind of, the Ripper, Rob's a bit more, the Ripper, yo! He kind of brings a bit more, yo! You know, a bit more kind of force, a bit more distortion, kind of to his voice, a bit more fullness, I guess. But I love what King does as well, with, his very strong falsettos, and cleaner, he's a lot cleaner kind of vocal, King. Merciful Fate has a bit more distortion, I guess, in some of the stuff. But King Diamond in his own stuff is very, very clean and very high, extra high notes, So yeah, great stuff, and I love singing that stuff as well, I love singing Priest, Holford, and King, and, I put up a lot of covers and stuff on my channel, and, I like doing originals as well, that's my main thing, doing originals, but, it's fun over here to record some stuff, and, I'm glad people have been enjoying it, I've had some good feedback lately, and I'm enjoying, as good as a singer, you keep evolving, and, I've managed to do some cool covers lately, which I'm proud of, which is kind of rare as a singer, I feel I've kind of worked out some new things, you always learn some new things, the more you sing and the more you do stuff, so yeah, I'm very proud of some of the covers I've done lately, and I'm glad people are enjoying it, that's the main thing, because for me, music is kind of one of those things, I do it for the love of it, and I do it in the hope that other people will enjoy it, that's my drive, just to give people that kind of satisfaction that I got with the bands that I love, if my songs can kind of make you think and make you rock and bring out some emotions, that's what it's all about, and yeah, it's fun. I'm always available for guest vocals too, so if you like my songs I played earlier in the show, then you can always try me out for a guest vocal spot on one of your tracks or projects, so yeah, that's something I love doing, but anyway, we're coming to the end of the show. Can you believe it? That went fast today, because we've been enjoying ourselves. That's how it goes. But I'm here every week, like I say, 6 p.m, Fridays and Saturdays. So be sure to tune in. And but we're not quite done yet. I've still got some nice surprises for you. As promised, I'm going to play a bit of Doug Aldrich again, another part of the interview where he's talking about a band called Lion that he was with, which you may remember. That was kind of early on in his career. So he's going to talk a little bit about Lion, and I'm going to end the show with some Judas Priest, of course, because this is a Priest special. I'm going to play another one from Unleashed in the East, this little song called The Sinner, which is originally off the Sin After Sin album, but you Priest fans know that the Unleashed in the East is, such a great album. It's great to hear these songs played on that live CD. These versions are just fantastic. Flawless, amazing performances. So that's why I'm playing another one off Unleashed, because it's such a great album. Unleashed in the East. I think it was in Japan, I believe, where they were performing at the time. Not sure the year. I think maybe 1979, something like that. But yeah, it's fantastic stuff. So like I say, Metal Matt here. I'm here every week. Be sure to tune in, and just a little bit more to talk about. To go back to my song very quickly, You Know That I'm Here. It was quite funny recording that song as well, because I had the option of 2 guitars at the time, and one was a bit better, like a proper acoustic guitar, and another was a kind of a little what do you call it, like a Spanish guitar kind of thing, and it was missing a string and all this stuff, but the producer said, that one sounds better on the recording, so it was played on a pretty crappy guitar, but it still sounded alright, the final mix nonetheless. And as a musician, I like to sometimes make it as raw and DIY as possible, because it kind of shows other people that you can do that as well. If you want to make music, just pick up the guitar, even if it's missing a string, and just do it, just rock it out. Nothing's got to be perfect. I think music is all about exploration, and some of my songs are real high budget when I've had the chance to get in a studio and do something cool, and other times I'm just jamming, and doing virtual songs and things, which some of them turn out high quality as well, and then other times it might be a bit raw, but that's what heavy metal's about, and that's what I love about heavy metal. So I hope you can all enjoy my songs if you haven't explored them fully yet. I hope you enjoyed the ones I played on the show today, and like I said, it's all available out on the platforms, so enjoy, and like I say, it's all about just the love for heavy metal and rock, and that's what I'm all about. So join me next week, see you there, but I'm going to leave you now with Doug Aldrich talking about his Lion days. And we're going to finish up with a bit of Sinner. So see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Keep it rocking, keep it metal. And yeah, we're going to have a fun time next week and more surprises. So see you there.
Hey, this is Satchel from Steel Panther. You're listening to Metal Stream Radio with Metal Matt, and he's totally naked from the waist down.
Regarding Lion, that was, it's interesting because I'm actually now back in touch with Cal Swan and Mark and the guys. We kind of reconnected a couple of years ago, and just we've been spending time together. Trying to basically a couple things, but also trying to figure out what's going on with the rights of all that old music, and we're working on that. But it was a blast. We were like, that's a band where we were all broke. We were sleeping on the floor. We were all living together in an apartment. It was like the real old school way, the school of rock and roll hard knocks. We didn't have anything, and it would basically be like, if somebody had a little money, you'd get a can of tuna or something like that. And I was teaching guitar at the time, so I had some money a little bit, but it was definitely lean, and we had built a really good following in LA. I mean, it was like we were one of the main bands. In fact, a lot of bands that got signed were opening up for us at our shows, like Poison or Warrant. Some other bands, I think, supported us, but later got these big deals, and we just got passed on. We were not like your typical LA sounding band. We were definitely, because of Cal, we were definitely more of a European sound, and he brought in a lot of stuff. Like, he was always talking about Status Quo and different Thin Lizzy albums, and then the Whitesnake albums that I had never been heard of, that had never been released in the US at that time. So we had this different sound, and I think it was just not the norm. So every label passed on us, and then finally we got a label that offered us a deal, which was a shit deal, but we took it because we thought, hey, we got a great record in the bag, we got a following, and we'll just sign it, we'll make a record, and then we'll renegotiate. And unfortunately, it was not that easy, and we ended up, we ended up disbanding, and then Cal and I went off and did another thing called Bad Moon Rising. But the one thing that label offered us was, they go, look, we don't give advances. We don't give any money. I was like, okay, well, we went this far. We're going to put this record out. We're going to blow you away and renegotiate, whatever. That's what we're thinking. But they go, but what we do is we'll put you in a movie soundtrack. And the first thing that we did with them was this Transformers thing. And so Cal and I got together and kind of put together some music based off of this little 30-second clip. And then Cal wrote the rest of the lyrics for it and the melodies and all that stuff. And so me and him got to be writers on that song, with the original guys that wrote that thing, with basically the Transformers, More Than Meets the Eye is all we had. And we finished off the song, and then we recorded it in their studio with their producer. And we still, it's not a lot of money, but we still get a few quid here and there,
Yeah.
as they say.
Yeah.
Once in a while there'd be a little mailbox money, $5 or something,
Mm.
And then we did another soundtrack for a movie called The Wraith, which had a couple songs in it. It had our song Power Love and Never Surrender in it. And so it was a great experience, but we found out that really, when it comes to contracts, you can't mess around. So we're still, 40 years later, we're still trying to figure out the contract.
Yeah, I've heard that's one of the most important things. When I interviewed KK Downing a while back, he said the same thing, as get to know the business, get your head in that, because it's, unfortunately, it is a necessary evil, I think, and you got to understand, so you're not getting ripped off, I guess. This, often seems to be the case. Yeah.
Our attorney, who was working with us, said, hey guys, if you sign this contract, then I have to quit because you won't be able to pay me. And we're
Mm.
like, I think I could be wrong, but I think that basically I definitely wanted to sign it. And a couple of other guys too. Mark, I think, was definitely like, maybe we should not sign this, or Cal, somebody was like, we should not sign this, but we wanted to sign it just because we wanted to move on. We wanted to get to the next level. And we were kids, we were in our early 20s.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Tough one when you kind of wait for that lucky break, and when it comes in whatever form it comes in, I guess sometimes you just want to do it if it means you're going to get out there and your music's going to be heard globally and stuff. So yeah, it's a difficult one. I don't know if the contracts are any better these days, but it's definitely
Well,
worth.
now you don't need it. Now you don't need a contract. Now you can do it yourself and
True.
do it
That's
online.
right. Yeah, that's the plus side. Yeah, a couple more questions. I've got one from Simon J. Court. He's another friend of mine. He's in a Judas Priest tribute band in Bristol, in England. I'm in Mexico now, but he's over there doing that. And he just wanted to ask. He said he loves your trousers, your silver trousers. He said, can you give them to him?
Actually, those trousers, I put them in a box in the garage, and they I think last time I looked, I was cleaning up my garage. The last time I took them, they split. They like ripped apart. It's leather, so
Yeah.
they basically. But the funny story is that those were just leather pants that I got from somewhere, and I didn't want to spend like $1,000 getting new pants for a tour, so I just got some spray paint and spray painted them kind of silver, just a little bit, like here and there.
That's good.
And it worked. It was like they photographed pretty good. They smelled really bad, but anyway. But yeah, so that's what happened to those.
Wow.
They disintegrated.
Oh God! Well, at least the DIY approach. Sometimes that's the best way.
Yeah.
A lot of bands started out like that with all the leather and studs and stuff. They had to make their own, and it's great.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Satchel from Steel Panther. You're listening to Metal Stream Radio with Metal Matt, and he's totally naked from the waist down.
Wings, such an